Whopper, Whopper, triple, Whopper, Whopper, triple, junior, Whopper. You're pissing right outside the door, right by the trash can. We're gonna walk.
BK, have it your way. You're pissing.
You're pissing.
Whopper.
That has been stuck in my head all fucking week. Junior, triple, single, Whopper, Dave's triple, junior, Whopper, Frosty, Whopper. I'm loving it.
PK,
Penalty kicks?
have it your way. You rule.
Is it you rule? Yeah. I thought it says you goon.
You goon?
No, you
In what world?
Hey, go through it again.
Whopper.
PK,
From the top.
have
the
it
top.
your way.
You goon.
It's way better.
This is Chris Hansen.
This is TJ Hushmanzada.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson,
And I need to let y'all know something. You're listening
You're
to
listening to
and you're listening to
It just makes
This Just Makes Sense.
Just Makes Sense.
Woo! Way better than Chris Hansen.
Seriously. I want to get involved in the rigging of Fat Bear Week.
In relationship to Fallout Boy.
Oh, Fallout Boy. People are.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
we got it.
cut that.
Like, someone should hire you to be a protester. 4 bills dead weight. They're not getting you off that
They
court.
look at me and I'm like, I fucking dare you.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
dare you.
I mean, like,
Tractor, there's nothing that can do.
They got to be
whale.
forklift certified.
Oh, I can't be a Cowboys fan because of this moral high ground that you are on. Bite me. Eat me.
Bite me. Eat me. I mean, gosh.
I'm so sorry to everyone that we just did that to.
Everything I just said before that, I just made that shit up.
Small enough and dumb enough.
Small enough, dumb enough. That's what we want.
That is It Just Makes Sense.
Hello. Welcome.
Actually, remember to do the clap this time.
We need the director's thing. And action. Go.
You get on that. As director of research and marketing, I do believe that falls under your wheelhouse.
It would be
Purview.
funny if there's one whole episode where I was just asleep.
I think we already have a couple of those.
Yeah. It's like our live show.
Yeah, the
actually.
live show, the first 20 minutes.
I'm talking the whole show.
Yeah. That was the live show.
Yeah, that would be hilarious, Miguel.
Okay, I'll do it tonight.
Welcome to It Just Makes.
Are you okay?
Yeah. That sounded like a snore, right?
Oh, yeah.
Find a way to greet the beginning of the episode in a different language since we're in so many countries.
Bienvenidos a It Just Makes
Can't just-
Sense.
Spanish can't be the...
It just makes sense isn't translatable. Those words.
It's not, especially like
Do
when
it in
it's...
Slovakian.
We do need to learn it in German for our Frankfurt folk.
Yeah, that's true.
Das Boot.
For our
Das Boot. That's all you got.
Das It Just Makes Sense.
Das.
Guys, can you believe that we're listened to in 19 countries
Yeah.
around the world? We touched on it last week, but it was towards the end of the episode, so people might have
I think the person-
trailed off a little
The
bit.
person who's listened to every episode is Dirk Nowitzki.
It is.
'Cause
You
he's
think it's
retired
Dirk?
now.
Shout out Dirk.
Thanks, Dirk.
Thank you. To the Nowitzki family.
Yeah. But yeah, so we were doing some analytics research, and we found out that we are listened to in 19 countries, including the UK, Australia, Germany.
The Swiss.
Yeah,
The Swiss.
we're all over.
The Swiss.
We are all over the place. So shout out to all of you
Yeah, to the
Who-
international gang.
who have
Oui.
joined our mindless podcast
Oui.
now
Konnichiwa.
on video.
Yeah. And please contact us. We want to know who you are. We want to know your children's names.
Right. It really helps us with
weird.
like the identity theft.
We would like to know your favorite pet's name
Right. What's
and
the
the street you grew up on.
What's the magician? The magician movie.
Now You See Me.
Not Catch Me If You Can. Now You See Me.
Yeah.
And they just ask him all of his basic bank. Oh, boo.
Whoa.
Oh, it's time for you to take your pills that you
I
never
gotta
take.
take my pills.
Braxton's
take
birth
them.
control alarm.
Sorry.
But yes. I mean, you think like a billionaire who is financing this operation in that movie, he's not just being protected by a couple of what's your cat's name security questions for his bank. Listen, I'm just saying that movie is not realistic. It's not a realistic movie.
I can't believe you would say something like
It
that.
absolutely is realistic.
Or in the second one where they're tossing the little card around and all that.
Just because you can't shuffle cards.
The fact that they didn't go with, let me rephrase, the fact that they went with Now You See Me 2 instead of Now You Don't is baffling. Like one of the greatest sequel naming opportunities of your life. The first one's Now You See Me. Second one's Now You Don't.
You don't. Exactly.
Like,
Can you think of another movie
Huge
where there was
whiff.
a good setup for a sequel name?
not like that. Might be literally the greatest setup of all time. Totally missed.
I can't think of any. Twister. There's going to be another Twister. Twisters.
Oh.
First movie was Twister.
There's two of them.
The sequel's Twisters.
Twisters. Yes. There will be another one. Very excited about that. Do your Twister impression.
There's really another Twister movie
there's
coming
gonna be
out
another one
with the
coming out.
same people.
I don't know, same people because what's his face is dead.
Yeah,
Bill
Miguel.
Paxton?
Jesus.
Bill Paxton is very dead.
Is Helen Hunt still alive?
Yeah,
Sensitive
she's
fuck.
very alive. Yes.
And also the big dude.
He's
he's also dead.
What is his name? Blonde hair. He's got like three names.
Philip Seymour
Hoffman.
Hoffman. Yeah.
Great movie.
I was about to say Lou Diamond Phillips. I was thinking three names.
You're about to say
LDP?
Is he alive?
Joseph Gordon.
Is Lou Diamond Phillips alive?
Lou Diamond Phillips.
While you're looking that up, I do have this odd core memory of going to Universal Studios, California, when I was very young with my family. And they had the Twister set. You could, like, go and, like, sit. And they had kind of like those chairs that would rumble and move. And basically they would play the scene as if the Twister is coming through. And I just remember the whole, like, ground coming apart and steam and things flying everywhere. And my chair was just vibrating. I don't know why, but when we started talking about Twister, I remember that. Great times. I was terrified. I do recall that.
There was like at OMSI, they have that little tremor, like that earthquake machine as well.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that.
Yeah,
For
get
people
your
who's
rocks
not
off.
in the Portland area, it's just this thing that mimics an earthquake, and then you sit on it, and then everything shakes, and then there's like an emergency alert, and it's 90 seconds. And if I were to write it now, I would still think it's cool from a nostalgic factor. But had it been my first experience on it, I'd be like, this is really lame.
How do you know if there's not a real earthquake while you're in there and then alarm goes off?
I was at OMSI, no joke. I was at OMSI when there was that big earthquake that happened up in Seattle circa like 2002, something like early 2000s that like rocked Seattle. And so it was kind of funny because we were in like the planetarium or something like that, and a guy goes, hey, like, there was just an earthquake. We all have to evacuate, and no one was listening to him. And he was this like mild-mannered person, so no one moved. And then like a minute later, he comes, hey, and he's like blows up on everyone. He did not remain calm. Everybody remain calm. Everybody get a weapon. So yeah, and then they stationed us under the Markham Bridge, which I thought was an excellent move by them in their evacuation plan. Earthquake just happens. Hey, I wonder if this bridge got any damage. Stand under it.
Seems fine to me.
Yeah.
I think I was a freshman in high school when that earthquake happened.
It was a big. I remember I was in middle school, so yeah, that makes sense that you would be in the high schools there.
You're older than him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I'm older than everyone.
For the being one of like the youngest in the group, I think that you have the worst memory. It might have to do with nothing. It might have to do with nothing. Welcome to It Just Makes Sense. Coming up on the show, we have some follow-up about the husband calling competition. We're going to be diving into the first episode of MILF Manor. I don't know if you watched it, Braxton, but Magoo and I watched it.
I told him to watch it.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched clips.
Then we've got the divisional round of the playoffs that has concluded. We now have our championship game set. And then we'll touch on a little incredible first touchdown parlay that hit this past weekend as well. So, meanwhile, all of my winnings from last
You
weekend.
bet it all?
I didn't bet it all, but I bet a side. I was feeling myself a little bit, and I was like kind of going back to these alt spread.
You bet with your heart.
Yeah, well, that was something. And, like, I mean, in my bets, and we'll talk about it later, it was just like Josh Allen to throw a touchdown. Joe Burrow to throw a touchdown. Dak Prescott to throw, and they just didn't. So, either way.
Not the Dak.
They didn't throw touchdowns?
Can't trust
Oh,
Dak.
no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Grudge?
Seaman.
Who? Okay. Speaking of, why don't you throw out your hypothetical from earlier today? Because we do need to talk about that. It is
That sent the whole group chat into
It
a
sent it
full-on
into-
frenzy.
an
for 12 hours.
absolute frenzy. And I don't know if you meant to, because it wasn't that.
I was just bored at work.
Yeah, it wasn't that terrible of a topic. Like, your hypothetical was not bad at all. Basically, you asked if we would eat out a porn star's ass. Basically,
Mia Malkova is a local porn star. She lives in Portland.
Oh, okay.
She used to.
I asked if you would eat her ass for
$10
a
million.
minimum of 10 minutes in exchange for $10 million post-taxes. The question is if it was an automatic yes, automatic no, or if you would consult
Conversation
with your
with your
partner.
partner. And I chose door 4, door D.
You wanted to just dive in and then tell your wife surprise.
My response was, I would do just about anything for $10 million. I'd even surprise Lindsay with it, like, happy anniversary.
and then it brought up a new topic, which would that be cheating?
Right. You said you wouldn't talk with her.
Because Braxton had the opposite view. He's like, I would talk to Jared first.
Which is like the
And-
most reasonable approach, but you would still do it.
Yeah, and I think my willingness to talk to her is knowing that she also would see the value in it, and I don't think it would hurt her feelings. I think, and we get into this a little bit later, I think she would understand the intentions. But I would, out of respect for her, and obviously every relationship is different, but out of respect for her, I feel like that I would want to do that. I would feel guilty if I didn't talk to her beforehand.
You would have to talk with her beforehand. I think it would be kind of sweet to just be like, hey, I just changed our lives, and
That's
the surprise factor.
That's
you
where
don't
you're
want the
losing me.
surprise on that.
That,
It's like when you buy someone a gift that they're not expecting. You're like, oh
it's
my
very,
god.
very
It's very different.
Very
I saw a
different.
video of a guy surprise his dad with a new 70-inch television, and it it's
You
like
know those
that.
videos where they give the colorblind people those sunglasses? Same thing. Same
Like if
thing.
you were to just
Life-changing money.
present Lindsay, oh, I have $10 million. Great. That conversation will completely change once she asks, how did you get the
this?
$10 million?
No, and so then that was the thing. I said, when you get this deep into a relationship, I've now
yeah,
been married for
and-
going on 8 years here.
And I do want to point out, if I could stop you for a second.
Sure.
If we want to talk about patronizing, that when you guys get to this point, maybe you'll understand.
Yeah.
After 9 to 10 years of marriage, it's like, oh boy.
No, I'm just saying that you'll loosen up a little bit. You'll find that those.
Braxton found that very patronizing.
Did you actually?
I mean, it came across a little condescending.
Oh yes. It's come back around. The condescension has
Yeah.
come back to me.
Yeah.
I understand.
You see, No, I mean, I thought this was all very interesting, to be honest.
You guys were goading me because you said like
you guys, I wasn't saying anything.
Well, I mean, like you were agreeing, you were absolutely stoking the fire there. So,
How?
so I mean, like you said, like Braxton said, so I can start being a prostitute and not talk with my partner about it. I said that's not the same, and it's not the same.
What you
because
were,
what it was,
you've got to read the context before that. You had said this is an action that I'm getting paid for. It's a transaction. It's I don't really need to discuss that. If it's for $10 million, I could do that. So you're saying, okay, if I'm doing a transaction, an action, and I'm getting paid for it, then that should be okay with my partner. I don't really have to
it's
discuss
like a
that.
one-time thing, though.
Okay.
It's a one-time
well, that's
purchase
a
here.
clarifying factor.
Well, no, I mean, like it was in the context of the question, was it not? This wasn't like an all-encompassing thing.
But let's say Mia calls you back, says, "Hey, Pete, that
She wants another
tongue,
$10 million.
Do that work."
Yeah.
And
That tongue punched the shit out of my fart box, and I want it back.
And she had another $10 million? Absolutely.
and
I
let-
am cashing those checks.
Let's say she says, "What if I get you to do it 10 times over the next, 6 months, and I'll pay you $10 million total, $1 million each time."
Yeah, absolutely.
So then you're still classifying this as you not being a prostitute.
I guess like if I get like a punch card at a certain point, maybe you're a prostitute at that point.
That's what I'm trying to say
you
here.
you get a free Subway sandwich at the end of it with
Okay.
that punch card.
Also, if you're saying that this is not necessarily a transaction that you need to discuss with your wife, wouldn't that go against you? Like, don't you discuss like a new job with your wife or getting into something new,
like,
that
or
you're
a
getting
large
paid
expense.
for, a large expense? Don't you
Yes.
discuss that together?
Right.
So why would this be different?
Because this is like this is like getting money. It's like giving a gift. You don't necessarily consult with someone on giving a gift.
So let's say you like looking at jobs before.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that something you would discuss with Lindsay?
Sure.
That would also be receiving money.
I suppose, yeah. But I mean,
And
that's like a career move.
$10 million is a career move. I mean, that's a life
you
move.
But the thing
quitting
is,
your
like,
job.
I feel like I'm secure enough within my relationship. The intention behind it is not to the action of cheating. It is acquiring $10 million to perform an act that happens to be sexual. This is semantics at this point.
But I think,
and I know that you guys are going to bring up, oh, you're the optics guy.
and the thing is like, this is just like, obviously this is never going to happen. But if this were
got me starting to think it could.
actually occur, you of all people would be the first one to immediately call your wife and be like, "Lindsay, guess what I just got offered?" And
But-
you would discuss, like, that's what's so funny to me is you are the one who tells your wife and talks to your wife. Not that we like hold things back from our significant others, but you are an oversharer.
Yeah, I mean, like, we got into the car after the bachelor party with Mitt in Austin, and I sat down, I buckled in, I go, I went to a strip club.
Yeah.
Yeah. it was
So
just-
it's just funny that you're the
Right.
one who's like, "Oh yeah, I would totally just do it and be like, surprise,
You would
babe."
call her.
I was pontificating or something. So either way, I do think it would be a fun surprise. And I am saying that, like, I will ask you guys, when you reach a decade in your relationship with your significant other, that I imagine that your comfort level will equal mine. I wasn't trying to be condescending. I was just saying that, like,
No, and I was kind of joking with
Okay.
you there. But isn't the fun surprise that a porn star offered you $10 million to eat her ass? Isn't that the surprise? Like telling her, "Hey, we have this opportunity."
also,
Fun surprise.
You come home with $10 million. You go, guess what?
but you know what I would do ahead of time is I would go to the Safeway up the street. I get one of those little fudge bars, and
Yeah.
I would just slurp on one of those little fudge bars.
I asked Jara about this, and she was like, "Yeah, I'd be fine with it. I just want to make sure I have like a fresh like toothbrush, toothpaste, mouthwash, everything ready for you when you got home.
Also, that comment from Peter is a comment from somebody who's never eaten ass.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
You visualize, you envision eating asses like you're covered in shit when you're done. You think that's what happens?
I mean, it's kind of like what you would see in a Van Wilder type of movie or something. Well, either way, not like
I didn't think this text was going to create a huge discussion.
Here's the thing.
I'm glad it did.
Here's the thing. Had you have gone and said, this is where I thought it would have been more difficult. Because, like, when you're talking about a porn star, like, that person is, like, a seasoned vet in this, right? So everything's going to smell good. Everything is going to be clean and all this other stuff. If you were to say you're at a stoplight and a guy in a Bugatti, a Maserati, rolls up and you guys are both sitting there at the light and he brings a briefcase and he shows you the cash, and then there also happens to be a homeless person like around and then offers the exact kind of same thing, maybe not quite $10 million, but whatever briefcase of money this is, that would be tougher. That I have to perform the same thing on that homeless person.
You think a porn star who's fucked hundreds of men would be cleaner than a homeless person who
Absolutely.
hasn't gotten laid?
100%.
Oh my God, yes. You kidding me?
100%.
It wouldn't even just be that. It would
The
be
answer
like
is yes to both.
Yeah. That one would be harder. That would be a little bit.
Let us know, fans, where
more
you stand
difficult.
on the $10 million ass-eating challenge.
Yeah.
Ass eating challenge.
Well, I think I know where both Miguel and I stand. We are in full agreement on MILF Manor. Is
What a cringy fucking show. That was hard to get through.
Yeah, so I mean, again, the show is centered around older women, single, divorced women who like younger men, like the youths. And the plot twist in the whole thing is that of the 10, 12 women who are there, all of their sons who are between 20 and 30 years old are also there, who are also into older women. And
They're all in the same dating pool.
They're all in the same dating pool. And the crazy thing, and it was the worst kept secret that they basically talked through the entire first episode. Like, they knew the plot twist. Like, even one of the gals was like, oh, yeah, I thought he was going to be on a totally different, like, dating show, a totally different retreat at the exact same time as me in Mexico. It's like, huh. You didn't, like, they knew. And so it was, it was not a very
I feel
good
like
secret.
you would have to give them some idea, because I feel like there's a good amount of women who, in their right mind, if that was revealed to them, they'd be like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yes, there was one mom there. I forget her name, but she seemed pretty level-headed. She was the one who was probably like the most uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was telling Braxton about that. The lady that no one was paying attention to.
Right.
She was there, like, her daughter passed away within the last year.
Right, yeah. She's like back there.
And she's like, yeah, she would want me to be here and find love and all this. But she's like bigger, but not big. You know, she's kind of like broad shouldered.
Right, yeah. She did not necessarily fit some of like the, plastic surgery type.
Yeah, and she felt out of place, like no one was paying attention to her.
I don't know if you have favorite characters or anything like that so far on this show, but I'll tell you what, there is one guy, he is the son of Kelly, and Kelly is the most like, rambunctious one out there.
The party girl.
Yeah, the party one,
right.
the Barbie-looking girl. She has a son named Joey.
He's the youngest.
And Joey is the youngest. He's 20 years old. I'm going to play this clip for you, and tell me if you just don't cringe in your fucking...
Pants?
Yeah.
So you're gonna be 24. Your son's 23.
No, he's 20.
No, I'm gonna be
you're
21.
Oh, you're the baby.
And you gonna be 22, right?
I'm gonna be 22.
He said you were his favorite.
He just tries to be too smooth.
I like to hear.
That's so
And
nice.
I'm probably the oldest.
Oh, there's no way. There's no way. April is the woman who immediately caught my eye. I would like to get closer with April. Who knows, maybe I could get her out of her comfort zone and show her what it's like with a younger man.
He
That's a
tries
beautiful
to be too
ring, by the
Rico
way.
Suave.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of your face. How do we?
It's just weird that they all end up cock blocking each other. It's like some of the moms see the kids and they're like, I don't want you to be near her. And then same with the kids. They're like, you're not going anywhere. Like, you've known him for this long. You don't, like, he's not coming up to the room and all this. And it becomes a cock block fest.
And you said the mothers and the sons share a room.
Share a room.
And the first episode, the Barbie mom tries to sneak another guy up to their room
while the son is in there.
And then the son was like, Mom, you gotta chill. You've known him for 6 hours. And then the guy who's playing it off like, oh, I'm just up here to remind you of our gym appointment tomorrow.
We got our gym.
We gotta work out tomorrow. But it's like the kids have hung out together. So there's like a bro factor where like, I don't know if I want to fuck with your mom. You're cool and all this shit.
The thing is that this Kelly and Joey, 20 years old, had one of the bigger rooms. It had like an ensuite. It had a hot tub in the room and everything.
They had a challenge.
They did have a challenge. And so all the guys stood in a line, and they were all shirtless. And they blindfolded the moms. And the moms had to go up and down the line
and feel them up.
Even their own son.
Their own son. They had to identify who their son was.
And whoever got it right the fastest got
to choose.
There's 2 private suites and then the rest are regular rooms. So the 2 fastest ones that were able to identify their sons got the 2 private suites with the hot tub and the big beds and all that shit.
Yeah. All I know is that Joey looks like a premature ejaculator. That's just...
Not a fan of Joey.
It's just like, it was like, honestly, a very poorly done show. I mean, it's not good.
I don't know if I could
all.
watch more of it.
I don't know if I believe that they're actually mother and son.
Really?
They showed photos.
There are photos, actually.
They showed photos,
and
in
it's
the
like
beginning.
they
like
look
family.
exactly the same.
Yeah,
like,
I'd say.
Is it that hard to find an actor that looks similar to a child
that
photo?
looks similar to a baby? I don't know.
But I don't know why they would go that far, considering that there's no, unless the show takes a fucking wild turn, the moms and their own kids are not gonna fuck. So I don't know why they would need to go that far.
It just seems so absurd to me that there are mothers and sons that I guess that would agree to this is my point, but I guess you're saying, oh well, they didn't know, that's why they agreed to it. But it's like, how couldn't they know?
Or even if they did know, wouldn't this be an example of you're getting paid to go on vacation and do a TV show and get your 15 minutes of fame? I mean, this is essentially a would you rather.
Yeah,
you're getting a shit ton of money for. You're gonna get famous from it and blow up your Instagram and get paid from sponsors and shit. So I don't see why people would turn it down, even though it's weird for us.
I did have an interesting thought while also watching this, was that, like, do these guys just have an Oedipus complex? Meaning, like, do they just want to fuck their own moms?
I know. I feel like this is like a slow leak from like the trending porn categories that are now starting to like leak out into reality television. The next one is going to be like, but they're step siblings.
Yeah, I
You mean
know.
the ones that Peter likes to look up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
very,
seriously,
very much
what's going to
mine.
be next? It's like, oh, it's all these young girls are in this dating show, and their brothers are there.
Their their
Or even their real brothers. It could be. It's like,
sure.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Same concept as this. But it's like this. We're towing the edge here, and I don't like it.
Well, all I know is that I don't know why this Joey kid irked me so much.
Oh, he was the worst.
Yeah, I mean, like, he barely looked like he could even drive, which, you know, even my own son now can drive. He has his mail truck there.
I haven't seen him in it once.
He's gone in it. It's kind of a slow burn.
You're not here when he works, dude.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
True. That's true. I am
he
here.
works.
During
He
off
works a
hours.
9 to 5.
Yeah, that's my beef.
Actually,
my beef.
What I think is even funnier about it is that Brody has taken. So again, for those who missed that conversation a couple weeks ago, he got a mail truck as a big wheel. And not only has he, he's just obsessed with it, but he has named it. And it is possibly the funniest thing because he came up with it all on his own. I have no idea where it came from. My uncle is the voice that you will hear in this because he recorded it. Here's the clip.
Bad boy.
What is that called again?
Big bad boy.
Who named that?
Big bad boy.
Me.
Yes.
And you.
Yes, that's true, because we made
Mail
the
truck's
sign
Big
together.
Bad Boy.
Beep, beep. Big
Wow.
bad boy. Yeah.
Big bad boy.
And it's funny because he'll just walk around and go, big bad boy, and he'll just hit every bee so aggressively. And
I've noticed he's been trying out new catchphrases.
yeah, baby.
Yeah, he said it like
he's
a
Mike Myers
dozen
everywhere.
times. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
That's his new thing. Did you guys name your cars back in the day, or do you have a name for your current
Cum
car?
dumpster.
Oh my God.
That was so loud. You really got into it.
Cum dumpster.
Jizz pocket.
I definitely did.
What was the name of your
1986 Ford Bronco. It was all brown, and I named it Cleveland.
car? Cleveland. Sure.
And I went to the mall kiosk that does the custom stickers, and I got the Cleveland and the script lettering, put it on the side window.
Boom.
I love that
What a
truck.
nerd.
I don't think that I've never named my cars.
That was the only one.
It's just seemed like too much of a commitment. Personify it, and personify.
You don't
a
like
car.
goodbyes.
That was literally my first car. That was mine. Like when I got my license, I would drive my sister's car, my parents' car. But then I got this Bronco, and I picked it out. It's exactly what I wanted. And so I was very attached to it.
I haven't had, because that sounds like a unique car.
It is.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
I have had a Honda CR-V, a Honda Accord, and a Chevy Tahoe. Nothing exciting. No.
Yeah, it was cool to have because at the time Ford wasn't making the Broncos anymore. It was one of the later years that they had because I think they stopped making them in the mid-'90s or something like that. And so it was cool.
Yeah.
It was very, very cool. Got 12 miles to the gallon.
What was your first car?
A Honda CR-V, 1998. It was red, which you guys are not red car people.
No.
So.
My first car was red. It was a 99 4Runner.
Didn't you try to order a car off of eBay?
Almost.
That was the first time he got scammed.
I would have been scammed big time. That
Oh,
was
man.
also a 4Runner.
I remember, have you guys almost fallen for one of those, I'm a prince in Abu Dhabi type of scams?
No. I fell for a Craigslist, hey, have a room to move into, pay the deposit up front. And
Yeah, that's kind of what not almost happened with me, but I realized very quickly that this was too sketch. It was like when I was looking for houses to rent either down in Eugene or back up here in Portland. It was like college. And I was like, this house is huge. Why are they putting? And then I got that very boilerplate, I am a prince and I have all this money type of a thing.
So
First of all, if you fall for the whole email about the prince, that's on you.
Yeah.
You deserve to get scammed. But those house listings, rentals and sales, that shit's real.
Yeah.
Because before we moved in next door to Braxton and Jarrah, Ashley and I actually went out and checked out a listing.
That is right.
In Southwest Portland, Multnomah Village, and it was a house that was listed at $1,400 a month. I was like, "Fuck yeah, $1,400 a month for a house."
I know that's
it had
in Portland.
It had
you
a
know.
covered outdoor area in the back, a gate. It was a neighborhood right off of Capitol Highway, on your way to that Walgreens.
Yeah, and for context, at that time in a townhouse, I think we were paying $1,675 or something like
probably
that.
the third most expensive place to live in Portland.
Yeah. And we went in, and the owner was there. He was doing work on the ADU of the house. This house had a fucking ADU. And we didn't discuss, anything about the listing. He just started showing us around. And we looked at each other. We're like, yeah, we'll
move in
take it.
tomorrow.
We're renting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're renting. We're rented for $1,400. Cool. Where do we sign? And he's like, 1,400.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, that's what your listing says. He's like, let me see that listing. And it was someone who took his listing, posted it on Craigslist, and said it was 1,400. And on the fine print that I didn't look at, that I would have never sent anyway, it says, so you don't lose this listing, send the first and last month's rent to this link. I'm like, first of all, you're dumb if you were to send money on that link without talking to anyone. But he's like, yeah, this house is $3,000 a month.
Yeah, that's about right.
That
There
makes
it
more
is.
sense.
There
And I'm like,
it is.
oh, shit. Okay.
No, mine was a little bit different because I met the lady. Like, I had just moved up from Medford to Portland, and I was literally living out of my ex-girlfriend's car for like a month, 6 weeks, something like that. And I finally had enough money to move into a place to just like rent a room. And I went to the house, met the lady, saw the room, the whole thing, and I gave her, I think it was like $600 or something, which if you're a 19-year-old kid or 18-year-old kid living out of your car, that's a shit ton of money. And so I gave it to her, and I was like, okay, I'll be back in a week to like move in and blah, blah, blah. And I go back. She doesn't answer the door. I like call. I even called the police to come down to the house. And they're like, yeah, if she doesn't answer the door, we can't just like break in. And so like I remember I would keep driving by her house, keep knocking on the door, never ever heard from that woman again. It was fucked up.
Do you think that like you were
What if
in
she
a
died?
Well, like, or that you were in a house that neither of you should have been in at that time? Like,
No, I think it was her house because there was like she had dogs. She had these big
Okay.
Rottweilers. There was other roommates in the house that I saw that lived there. Like it was very obviously her house. I think she just saw an 18-year-old kid and was like, "I'm gonna take advantage of
So
it."
you lost $6 bills?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
bummer.
It was fucked up.
Well, okay, so we're not going to be scammed anymore by real
Nope.
estate, hopefully. We're not going to be
Buying cars off of eBay.
buying cars off of eBay and then, like, naming them and getting too close with them because someone might come and steal that car. At least that's what happened this past weekend. There were competing animal shows in Portland this past weekend.
I saw this.
The dog show and the cat show were both like one was at the convention center, one was at the expo center, or something like that. So it was an infighting.
Is that the same place?
The dog's got the convention center. I
Yeah,
bet.
dogs got the convention center. Cats were way up in the
Bitch-ass
expo,
cats.
right there in the friggin' Jansen Beach. What ended up happening at this ahead of this dog show is that 4 of these show dogs went missing. And it was after their owner's van was stolen hours before they were supposed to show up at the convention center. 3 Scottish Terriers and 1 Cairn Terrier. Archie McPhee, Mustang Sally, Boo, and Mason were the dogs' names. They were found after someone stole the van about to transport them to the classic winter dog show. A man at a mobile home park in Vancouver, Washington, found a stolen Mercedes-Benz Metris, which I imagine is a cargo van, with the abandoned dogs still inside, and it was totally abandoned. So the owner, Ed Cook, was reunited with them. The person who found it, there was a $10,000 reward that the owners of this dog had put up that was like for the van and for the dogs. And the person who found it, who, again, lives in a trailer park, turned down the $10,000 reward. Which I thought was
What?
Person who-
Why?
I was gonna say I thought the twist.
goodness of their heart, apparently.
I thought the twist was gonna be whoever said that they have the van was the guy who stole
Maybe.
it.
Yeah, maybe it was guilt.
Maybe it was guilt there.
But they just abandoned the van, and what did they take? Nothing.
It doesn't say that they took anything.
That's weird.
Yeah, that they just like either took it for a joyride or realized that they just
Yeah.
had second thoughts and then they just abandoned it.
Well, it became pretty.
Left the van running, actually.
That's convenient. Sounds like this is the guy who stole the van.
Yep.
Why would he not take the money?
I don't know.
It's an
fame?
interesting one. I mean, it's like, again, $10,000, not an insignificant amount of money. And so, I mean, I know that there's like goodness of your heart things, but like you did a deed, and someone wants to compensate you for it.
It's a transaction.
It's a transaction. Thank you. It is.
You think that he might be going for the fame factor?
Maybe.
That it might blow up instead of taking the 10K?
That maybe he can get
he puts his GoFundMe out there and he makes $1 million.
Which, by the way, not to get off topic here.
You're gonna get off?
There was a guy I think it was the Ravens Bengals Week 18 game. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. But he's behind one of the end zones in plain view, and he has his Venmo account or his Cash App account there, and basically like essentially asking people to send money to his Cash App. And he got like thousands upon thousands of donations or people sending him money because I think that he was saying like need money for college or something. There was a small text. I'm not doing it justice at this moment. But like to say that you need money when you're essentially at like a playoff game
in good seats,
it's like you don't need money. What are you talking about? You're just taking advantage of people.
What is the end game of people seeing a Venmo account and they just like sending money to a random person? Is like, do you want to be a part of something so badly? Like, oh, if this blows up, I'm one of. I can say that I'm one of the people who said. Like, why do you send money?
I think it's more that there's people out there who have the extra money, or they have some kind of like guilt that they want to help and they want to do what they can, and they see something like that, and it gives them a certain gratification. Like, I helped out. I did my part.
I get if it's like a, someone got in an accident or something, but there's people that just like put their Venmo account out on social media or at a game, and there's people that would send them money.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I mean, like we're all seeing right now what Keith Lee is doing online. He's the social media food reviewer who's in Las Vegas. He's going around to struggling restaurants and food carts, and he's reviewing them, and then basically everything that this Keith Lee guy, who's a former MMA fighter, touches now. He's teaming up with Mr. Beast and all that. Like everything that he touches is gold. Like this guy,
it's kind of a cool story.
It's awesome.
He's the one who went to the
food truck,
the wing place that's about to shut down.
Yes,
and then they got a good review and they just blew up.
Yeah,
and now he's doing it.
There's people now who are traveling like from booking Airbnbs to go to places that he's reviewing. Like there was a guy who had like a fish cart or a fish truck, and he reviewed it, and this guy went from $50 to $100 a day to, in like the last couple of days, done like $50,000 in business. And so that's what you should use a platform for. Do that for good. But.
And the reason he started the TikTok is because he was doing well in MMA, but they were concerned about his like marketability because he had an issue with public speaking. He got very nervous. He wasn't very comfortable with it. So they encouraged him to start a TikTok and just to practice, to get more comfortable, putting yourself out there, become more marketable. So he starts a TikTok and he takes this idea of just reviewing food places. And it starts to get blown up, more and more followers, and then pretty soon it leads to this. So pretty cool story all in all.
I didn't know he had a background where he was like sort of famous already, but that's cool.
Yeah, he definitely had. He already had a bit of a following going. But I mean, gosh, like. It's good to see a person using their platform as well, because he was talking about, has a wife, kids, a house and all this other stuff, and he basically like out of money, and now he's using like his platform to not only help himself but help other people.
How much do you feel that his reviews are actually genuine? Or, like, do you think more of it is, like, he wants to help these people that even if the food's mediocre or below average, he's like, oh, this is great.
He's been not rough, but, I mean, like, he's been honest about things. He hasn't – I don't think he's putting on. But, I mean, he'll say, like, I don't like that for me. I think that, like, he leaves an open door sometimes.
It's always, like, he'll get several things, and it's always like, oh, well, that side – wasn't really for me, but everything else was incredible.
Right. Exactly.
Has he ever said, like, shut the front door?
Shut her down.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
You are the mayor of Flavortown.
Well, it does seem to be a little bit out of bounds now. Is that M&Ms has officially, the brand has officially caved, Juan Magoo. They have decided
They're no longer spokescandies?
There's no longer any spokescandies. They have given the woke mafia of alpha males have been boycotting M&Ms ever since there was this ad campaign where there were going to be all female M&Ms, and this guy.
Are we gonna get
My
flagged
America.
Are we gonna get flagged on TikTok for this?
I hope so.
We might. I saw this video and I wasn't even sure if this guy was legit, but he was.
Is that Joe Namath?
It kind of looks like Frank Caliendo, actually. But here you go.
G'day guys, Nick Adams here. I want to speak about M&Ms. I want to speak about Mars, the company behind M&Ms. M&Ms have just released feminist M&Ms. Yes, you heard me right. Feminist M&Ms. Egregious sexism of the worst and most conceivable kind. It is outrageous, it is disgusting, and it must not stand. That is why I am calling for a complete and total boycott of all things Mars, and particularly M&Ms. It will not stand. Let me say this loudly, let me say this clearly, let me say this unambiguously. Any male that buys a packet of M&Ms from today forward must hand in their man card, because they are a soft, woke, beta male feminist who has serious problems. Until M&Ms rectify this grave wrong by giving us all male M&Ms, this boycott will remain. We will not stand for this at all.
What is he gonna do?
M&Ms?
No! Don't step on him!
I hope he didn't pay for those M&Ms.
Hold on.
I hope
a self-described alpha male, by the way.
If you don't buy them, and you're like I had some at work today, they were just out on the table.
Shut up.
You had some Feminems?
Yeah,
Dude.
I mean they're pretty old.
Dude.
But if you didn't pay for them, where do you fall on the?
If he,
I mean, I didn't go out and buy them.
Socialist M&Ms is what those are.
Dude, you're
socialist M&Ms.
You're supporting the people who are buying them,
Yeah.
showing that they should buy more because you're eating.
They should consume more.
So is that video saying we're against feminism?
Basically,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, like as a guy who's also self-described alpha male.
Also, I was gonna say, if you're gonna run, like if you're gonna try to be the leader of a group, of a following, especially one where you're like promoting masculinity, you gotta switch up the accent.
Eminem.
I will pull your main card right now.
Right now. And you don't sound like an alpha male.
No, not at all. I think you gotta get some voice lessons, maybe deepen. M&Ms. All male M&Ms.
Oi!
Immediately.
No actual alpha male addresses themselves
as an alpha
male.
Yeah. Well, M&Ms today talked about the indefinite pause. They have now instituted Maya Rudolph as their new spokesperson. It says, we are confident that everyone in America can agree on something, and it's their beloved Maya Rudolph.
Can you imagine these marketing meetings? Who does everybody love? Maya Rudolph? God damn it. Yes.
Yes.
Get her on the line right now. We need her.
She's like, hello?
Hi, it's M&Ms.
Is this one of those real estate scams?
The Prince of what?
We need you.
What
You want me to dress as an M&M?
When you said trying to come up with someone who everyone loves, it reminded me of he was on The Real World, but he has a podcast on Barstool, I think. Theo.
Oh, Theo Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn. They had him.
He's not Barstool.
Is that not Barstool?
No.
Okay, I
He's
get
friends
them all
with some
shit
guy.
mixed up. But he has his own podcast.
Yeah.
And they asked him a question. They're like, if you got to choose who would be a representative to meet aliens for the first time, who would you choose?
Who's
You
your
could choose
representative?
anyone who would represent us as a human race to meet aliens for the first time. He goes, man, that's a good question. Filipinos. He's like, every Filipino I've met have been hospitable, caring. They're just good people. And at the end of it, he just went on a rant for like 3 minutes about how great the Filipino race is. And then at the end they go, you never said who. You just said Filipinos. And he goes, oh, Manny Pacquiao? Like, that's actually a pretty good answer.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And then the guy in the back goes, I thought you were going to say The Rock.
Yeah.
He's like, no, Manny Pacquiao's a good answer.
Well, I mean, if Independence Day is any indication of what first contact is with aliens, you don't want to send Manny Pacquiao out.
Why not?
You want to throw a test subject out there, and then they'll shoot them down, and then you'll work a few things out, and then you'll become friends.
I just like to imagine how Manny Pacquiao sounds as he's talking to the aliens. Sometimes where we touch.
One of my favorite Theo Vaughn lines, somebody was asking about weed. He goes, my favorite strain of weed is cocaine.
Yeah. What are you offering? What are your offerings to aliens? Like, honestly, like if you are to say, like, this is our dowry or this is like our peace
M&Ms.
offering. Yeah. Are you offering M&Ms? Are you saying, hey, we're alpha males here? So are you offering?
Well, I think also like if you're the person who's chosen to send this package to aliens, are you offering them something that you think is valuable to them as like somewhat of a peace offering?
Or something that's representative of
Yeah,
you?
or something that's representative of humanity and who we are.
Dildos.
Sure.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, I mean, like, they make, weird colored dildos. So, yeah. People have alien fetishes, right?
And also the thing is, yes, they do, to answer that question. But also, like, gold to us is highly valuable, but in whatever planetary system they live, it could be like
foot-long hot dogs.
Like mud.
Yeah,
dirt.
sure. It could be. If Canadians were the ones to represent the world, they would not take any sort of beer, especially RPM.
Yeah,
or
what's
anything
up
like
with
that.
this? Is this real?
This is absolutely real.
Tell me more.
There is a Health Canada. It's the Canadian Centre of Substance Use and Addiction, which identifies different effects of cancer and heart disease and strokes and everything. They were talking about the health risks associated with alcohol and new guidelines that this organization is recommending Canadians is to limit themselves to just 2 drinks per week, and ideally cutting alcohol out altogether.
Is this a recommendation? Is this law?
It's not law, but what they are, this study that they have is talking about how alcohol, will cause serious health risks, including cancer, heart disease,
So
and
does
stroke.
poutine, motherfucker.
I know, that's the thing. It's like, what
Limit people
doesn't
with gravy.
What doesn't kill you? I mean, I think that there's this sound out there, this meme out there. It's like, do you know that, if you exercise and you sleep, you get all that recommended amount of sleep, that you still die? It's just like, yes, like something will kill you at a certain point. Obviously, like if you're, destroying your body, to a certain degree, then sure. But, I mean, to say...
I just love the nerve, like, limit yourself to 2
nerve.
drinks. But the fucking country is drowning themselves in cheese curds and fucking gravy. Like, come on, man.
Oh, okay.
Drowning themselves in brown gravy.
Allow me to read you this quote, and then I will tell you who said it. We wanted to simply present the evidence to the Canadian public so they could reflect on their drinking and make informed decisions, said Peter Butt, a professor of family medicine
It
at
sounds
the
like a
University of
Peter thing to
Saskatchewan.
say.
He
Peter
would.
Butt.
What
It's
an ass.
such a Peter thing to say.
He would be named Peter Butt, wouldn't he? It's a fake study. It's what it is. They're like, all right. They went into Chat GPT and they go, give us like the name of like a professor, and then Chat GPT spit out Peter Butt.
I think Chat GPT would do better than that.
You think so?
I thought when you added that on the sheet, I swear I thought I had read like they changed the drinking age.
No, they didn't
I
change
thought
the
that's
drinking
2.
age.
2.
Coming up next in our next episodes, we've gone a little bit late. I want to make sure we get into actual sports here. A few things that we have not gotten to tonight, but we will get
Are you
to.
gonna tease?
I'm gonna tease.
Don't tease me, Peter.
There was, and I guess I'll allow you guys to think about it, and we'll have this debate on next
you'll
week's
allow
episode.
Oh, you'll allow it?
One of these things has to be released without context,
Jizz.
and you choose your internet search history or all of your text messages ever.
Are we not answering this
We're
right now?
not answering it right now. That is going
You
to
should have
be
saved it.
next week. You can't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Also,
There's literally a hamster losing its mind on a wheel in my fucking head as soon
You're
as you
putting
asked
a
that.
hamster into cardiac arrest right now.
we're also going to be talking about how Burger King has a stranglehold on the commercial industry right now.
Wrong.
And
Whopper,
I
Whopper, triple,
Exactly.
Whopper, Whopper,
Double.
Whopper,
Or
triple,
Whopper.
Whopper, Whopper, triple,
and it got
Whopper.
me thinking about other.
J.G. Wentworth.
Yes, that's where I'm going with this. Is commercial jingles that went way too hard. So we'll talk about that next week as well. So for those who missed last week's episode, we talked about the husband calling competition.
Roy.
Yoo-hoo!
Yoo-hoo!
I loved watching that back and seeing how flummoxed, just like how surprised you were by all of that.
I was
the genuine look on your face.
When you brought that up, I envisioned like calling on the phone, and I was trying to think what that would be, how you could compete in that.
Yeah.
And so when you pulled this up, I was blown away.
And I mentioned the pig calling competitions, and you sent this to us during the week. And I don't know how you found it, if you were just like looking it up, but this is a, what is that, 2011 or something
2010.
like that? 2010.
I was deep in the hog calling video.
Calling competition.
And this one.
In Illinois.
I mean, first of all, this guy's outfit, 10 out of 10.
He looks like the pig.
He does, yeah, he's calling
They call him Boss Hog on the streets.
They might.
They do.
Great sunglasses as well.
Oh, gosh.
Polo
You'll
shirt.
see the clip right here.
Come on, pig. Piggy. Come on, piggy.
This is... Oh, my God. You got to admit, this is a little...
It's
What the
It's a little serial killer-esque. But, okay, so now go to the Instagram DMs
right.
and look at the DM I just sent you.
That scream was something else. I
Because
can't imagine you don't get a headache
this is
from doing that.
one of maybe the greatest mashups of all time.
Come on, pig. Piggy. It fits so well with heavy metal. Come on, pig. Piggy.
It's incredible.
I watched that over and over.
And the little tap of the crash cymbal. Piggy. So good.
It's hella metal.
Hella metal. Jeez.
Piggy.
All right.
Whopper.
You goon.
You goon. That man, can we find him?
I don't know
Boss
if we
Hog?
should.
We need to find Boss Hog.
I bet we could.
I need a live
I-
rendition of that.
I bet we could.
We'll find him.
Get him on Zoom.
I bet we could.
Yes, we need to find.
We will find Boss Hog. That's my 2023 New Year's resolution.
Thank you for that.
Great one.
Remember when this was a sports podcast?
Yeah, you want to talk about sports?
Good times.
We are literally an hour into this,
All right,
maybe a
perfect
little bit
timing.
more. So, sports. How about it? NFL divisional rounds have concluded with the Chiefs and Bengals squaring off once again for the AFC Championship. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles taking down the New York Giants.
Go Birds.
And then the San Francisco 49ers beating the Cowboys. Which game do we want to start first? Why don't we go with the first game of Saturday, Chiefs and Jaguars. Patrick Mahomes, high ankle sprain,
Concerning.
comes back in, which I guess after hearing about it more, because I said, hey, this guy could be out for 4 to 6 weeks, but then he comes right back in after halftime. Usually these guys can play through the adrenaline right then and there, but then
Tore
it
it all.
becomes very concerning.
I think it was
as
Tony
it
Romo
continues.
that was like, yeah, you saw him come back, but I guarantee you the next day he will not be able to walk.
To move.
And he's like, they're going to shoot him up with so much shit that he'll play on Sunday, but he's not going to have the same mobility that he's used to having. So that's a scary thought for Kansas City.
And you can pull Chad Henne out against the Jaguars and the Browns 2 years ago, but
not Cincy.
You can't do that against the Bengals.
Sure can. And it was nice to see Chad Henne go for 98 yards and score.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
mean,
He's a great backup.
But again, this is a different beast, a different animal.
During that
in
game,
the Bengals.
I was at a hardcore Chiefs bar on accident.
By accident you were?
Yeah.
Where?
We met up with Ashley's friends for lunch, and Ashley chose a place that served Filipino/Hawaiian food.
Okay.
Because she knew, she's like, oh, I know there's an NFL game, but let's go to lunch, and you'll like the food. And I'm like, cool. We walk into Pono Brewing in Northeast Portland by Sam's
And
Billiards.
it's a Chiefs bar. Huh?
And it's a hardcore fucking Chiefs bar. It's painted red, and there's so many Chiefs fans in there, we couldn't hear each
Wow.
other. It was during the game.
Interesting. Well, I guess it gave you an excuse to actually watch the game at that
yeah,
point.
there were TVs
So,
everywhere. I was like,
Exactly.
holy shit.
And it's kind of fun, like being in the mix with a whole bunch of fans cheering for one team.
Yeah, so, I mean, very concerning for the Chiefs to have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's going to play. Like, if he's not going to be mobile, I imagine that, the Bengals won't say it, but they will pay attention to that ankle.
Yeah.
They will pay attention to it. And, still a hampered Patrick Mahomes is better than, I guess, maybe the best Chad Henne. But, I mean, gosh, you got to be ready for that, too.
Is a hobbled Mahomes better than Josh Allen?
Rude.
We'll talk about that here in a second. So, I mean, good for the Jags, right? I mean, to be able to get into the divisional round, to build off of this for next year, to shed all of the, demons of Urban Meyer
This
past.
is a huge victory for them.
Huge.
This is a incredibly fast turnaround from last season.
Absolutely.
I mean, normally you'd get to this point from building 2-3 seasons, and then you get to this point. The fact that they were able to go from 2-14 to this in one season is fucking insane.
Doug Peterson, Coach of the Year.
Possibly.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's a pretty incredible turnaround.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Dable, I think gets some consideration as well there.
That's true.
That takes it to the next game, which is, the Eagles and Giants, and that 8 points that the Giants had going into that game. And I think a lot of us, maybe even all of us, had the Giants at +8 going into this. And I think that it was quickly realized how dumb all of us were. And I had a teaser that teased the Giants all the way up to +21. And that did not hit, and it killed a $50 bet, and that sucked. But, I mean, I was very concerned, or interested, not necessarily concerned, how the Eagles were going to be in this game, given that Jalen Hurts had been hurt for so long. The last month of the season for the Eagles was a little dicey.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to be playing your best football at that time, and they just looked like the earlier season Eagles that we had seen. So that gave me confidence in them. But I think that, yeah, like I said, we bet against them in that moment. But
they made a statement.
They made an absolute statement, especially in a weekend where it turned out that there were teams that did not show up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I honestly thought the outcome of this game was going to be how Kansas City Jacksonville might go.
Sure.
I did not expect this one to be such a blowout. But I think, as I said before, this is kind of a we're back game for the Eagles to show that everybody's healthy. You know, those last couple weeks were a little bit rusty with injuries and stuff like that. But everybody's back, everybody's ready, and I think they're ready to win a Super Bowl.
I think what was scary, too, seeing from Saturday is you saw a healthy Eagles team that was back to their old selves from the start of the season, but you saw their running back committee just absolutely take over. The fact that you have 4 people that could run the ball efficiently is fucking scary, even for a Niners defense.
Yeah.
That you could rest Miles Sanders and put Gainwell in there, put Boston Scott, who apparently is a giant killer.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you guys see that stat? He has like 11 touchdowns against the Giants and
they
3 against all other teams in the NFL.
Sports books were boosting the shit out of his anytime touchdown. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And then he fucking scores.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he really is. I don't know if they fucking look into the shit. They're like, yeah, we'll hand him the ball. And they didn't get a great game out of Sanders just because he had the 2 backups. A.J. Brown didn't have a great game.
Sure.
Just to think to get the full potential out of everyone there, because their defense is, I'm pretty sure they're the second best defense in the league behind the Niners. I don't see them losing the NFC Championship.
And I've said this before in this podcast and in conversation, and I'm going to say it again. The Eagles' offensive line is so much more superior than any other team that's left in the playoffs, and I think we know that that's the nitty-gritty of it. If you can start there, everything else is so much easier to build. The run game, the play-action game, the pass game, RPO, whatever you want. If you have guys up front who can hold it and give you that time, I think they are head and shoulders above any other team in the playoffs.
My opinion on the Eagles. This is going to lead into the other game. But if I'm looking at the NFC Championship, who I think have a really good chance of winning the whole thing, whoever wins it. And I'm looking at Philadelphia and I'm looking at the Niners. I think I had what I believe to see from the Niners until Sunday. And then it all changed. Because I think the difference between the two teams is Philadelphia knows exactly who they are. They know who they are. They know what their strengths are. I believed the same thing about San Francisco until Sunday. Because on Sunday, what they were doing is they were putting the ball on Brock Purdy's hands way too long. He was holding on to the ball for 3, 4, 5 seconds, going through all of his progressions, not projections, progressions. And
looking at Q3,
he's not the guy that you are gonna win. He's not the reason they're winning.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not the reason they're winning because of everyone around him and the defense.
It's the system.
Yeah, they needed to take the Joe Burrow in the first half against the Bills approach where he started like 9 for 9. He was just like, ball out. Like don't take it for.
I mean, he was a sitting duck back there. He was holding on to the ball for way too long, and you put him in his hands. There's a reason why that game was 19-12. So that makes me lean towards Philadelphia because I think they know exactly who they are.
Yeah, they have a clear identity.
I went into the weekend having one impression of the NFC and walked out with it totally on its head. I was like, 49ers with their run and then their defense as well. What's going on with Jalen Hurts? Is he going to show out? And then totally have the opposite impression.
Yeah.
And I know where Braxton is leaning now because of his green and
yeah.
his.
I've reached my third level of evolution. I went from Browns fan, they're done. They weren't in it. Bills are gone.
I think they moved to the WNBA.
Did they? Good for them.
They were regulated.
They might get
some
some
wins.
wins.
To go down.
And now we're on to the Eagles.
Relegated.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Let's go.
So then we get to the Bills-Bengals game.
What a disappointment.
It really was. I mean,
not because I didn't want the Bengals to win, but everything leading up to the game told us that game was going to be
fireworks.
Absolute fireworks everywhere. Damar Hamlin factoring in there, the snow game, it's in Buffalo and all that. That also killed a pretty decent bet for me because over 39, that was teased all the way down. I was like, over 39, that's easy.
Yeah, they'll get that.
What was it, 27 in the first half?
Yep.
I was like, 39 will get there. It ends at fucking 37 because Bills couldn't score a fucking point. But it was pretty disappointing that it was a one-sided thing.
It was absolutely disappointing. I mean, like, you saw the frustration on the sidelines from Stephon Diggs. He's blowing up at Josh Allen. He's yelling at him on the field to throw the ball higher. He storms out after the game as well.
He's a head case.
He is. He doubled down today and said, like, what, you want me to be okay with losing? Either way, it was not the type of a game. There weren't any turnovers that I think that everyone was talking about the Bills were so susceptible to having. They just, like, couldn't complete a pass. They couldn't get really any momentum going. And, gosh, like, I remember at the beginning of the game they showed Joe Burrow waiting to come out of the tunnel, and he's just there with his hands, with his shoulder pads and everything. And I was like, I think I made the wrong pick. I don't know why in that moment I was like, I think I was wrong about this game. There was just like such either a Joe coolness or a determination where I was like, I think I might be wrong.
He's a cold motherfucker.
Yeah, I think I might have a crush on Joe Burrow.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I think I do.
I do
think
want
it's official that I have a bit of a man crush on Joe Burrow at this point.
I do want to put my tinfoil hat on for a second, and maybe this isn't interesting to you guys, but I did find it odd with the Damar Hamlin coming back. We all kind of thought that the same thing. He might come out with the team arm in arm. They might do something to really put some pageantry behind this. When they brought him into the game and they had cameras on him, he came in like this gator, like
a security gator,
and was immediately swarmed by people. He had hood up.
You're saying it was never him?
Sunglasses on, mask on.
That's what the conspiracy theory is out there.
And they don't show him. They quickly rush him into the elevator. They go up. Obviously, it's snowing during the game, so they keep on doing these shots from across the stadium
and you cannot
through
see
the snow to his suite, and it's just like a shadow, through the blizzard that's waving. And then they have an in-suite camera, a phone camera
from
behind, and it's just his back with the hood up. Is that odd, or am I crazy?
If that's the case, sounds like it's karma. Why lie about that shit?
Yeah, I mean, he did.
I would hope that they wouldn't do something like that, but like that seems, it's just a little.
It's
odd.
Unnecessary.
It's a little odd.
If you would do something like that, what would be the need for that?
Well, I think that because everyone expected it, kind of, and he did address it on Twitter, basically saying, "quote unquote clone" with a picture of him, which is still not the best photo of him. But that was the outfit that he was wearing, and seemingly addressing that he was an imposter at the game. I thought that
I hope that's not the
that
case.
He was going to walk him
weird.
out. I mean, I thought everyone thought he was going to join the team on the field, but maybe there's some sort of protocol where he can't do that. But I mean, like, guys who aren't dressed are allowed on the field anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless,
they allow a lot of people on the field.
I hope that's not the case, because that would be so unnecessary and really odd for them to do something like that.
One thing back to the Stephon Diggs, because he was kind of in his feelings and he sent a tweet out. Did you see the Eli Apple reply?
Yeah.
Cancun on 3 with the hands.
Cancun on 3.
It was the heart.
Cancun on 3. It was the heart. I think that he was making fun of Damar Hamlin, actually.
that's
Damar
cool.
Hamlin's
I don't know. This isn't a take because they lost, but I think you can go back to previous episodes where I'm just like, the Bills were becoming unlikable for me.
Yeah,
Were
that's
they?
for sure. You've been
Because
pretty consistent in that.
I don't dislike Josh Allen. I think he's good. I was never really a Diggs fan because of stuff like this. Like, why go on social media? I get it. Everyone's doing it now. Dame's doing it. LeBron's doing it, whatever. But the whole Bills dynamic this season was very much Memphis Grizzlies for me. Like, you were talking so much and you were talked up so much for having done nothing. You haven't done a fucking thing. And I'm glad that Cincy not only beat them, but put a fucking smackdown on
Owned
them.
Yeah.
Because the fact that I would be pissed if I was a Bengals player and they're selling Bills Chiefs tickets to the neutral site.
Which
fuck that. I wouldn't have sat my starters. I would have fucking put up 2 more touchdowns on them.
Like, the NFL didn't need to do that. Like, they could have actioned off those tickets this week. I don't understand why they needed 2 weeks to put tickets into motion. Like, you didn't need that. And, afterwards, Joe Burrow was kind of asked about that, and he says, better get them refunds, better send those refunds out.
That's what's making him likable. He doesn't have emotional responses or answers or reactions. He's kind of just like a laid back, chill dude.
He's Joe Cool.
He's ice cold. He just says little quirks here and there, whatever. But what's the Giants coach's name?
Dabble.
Dabble. I think Tony Romo made a good point during the game when he said that Dabble was with the Bills. You saw
their OC last year.
You saw the progression of Josh Allen and how much better he got.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a good
you saw
point.
that with Daniel Jones, and now that he's gone from the Bills,
you got Dorsey.
All of a sudden, you're seeing very unlike Josh Allen.
Yeah, he kind of plateaued this year.
And you were seeing
there
a
wasn't
lot more.
progression.
You weren't seeing a lot more. He was more emotional. He was more in his head in some of the games. He was making bad decisions.
Last 2 games, he scores that touchdown,
and he's making bad decisions.
And he's pushing guys around.
He's talking. I get talking shit, but the thing that made him Josh Allen is he was cool. His head was in the game. He just went through and rushed for 50 yards, got touchdowns, threw the ball, and now he was more involved with the non-game related shit.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good point with the coach had, because I do agree. I saw this somewhere. There's no major sport that has a more important role for the coach than the NFL. That's where NBA, you're coaching prima donnas. I mean, you're
babysitting.
You're player managing. You're ego managing. Same baseball. You don't really do shit. But NFL, the X's and O's matter.
Yeah.
And the quarterback's coach matter and all that stuff. So I do agree that makes a difference.
I also thought that it was impressive for the Bengals to have, obviously a concern going into this game was their offensive line, having 3 starters out, and these guys showed out. And again, I think that game plan early on where Burrow was getting that ball out in under 2 seconds.
Mixon,
And
over 100 yards rushing.
Incredible. There's no way that anyone thought that Mixon was going to go for 100 yards plus after he had struggled and with the problem. I would have taken the over on the sacks had DraftKings allowed it.
Yeah.
Even if they said it 5. But man, did they protect him. It was weird because the Bills had lost 3 games this year by a combined 8 points total. They had only been down by 14 points ever once in a game this season. They came back and won that game against the Ravens. That was early in the year.
That's the weird part that I think most Bills fans were expecting, because you're the home team. You know how to play in this field. You know how to play in this weather. What Cincinnati did is what the Bills fans were expecting their team to do. So I don't know if this is a credit to Cincinnati's line and their defense, the fact that Singletary and James Cook just couldn't get it going, but Cincy did it. I mean, Mixon averaged just under 6 yards a carry, and that opened it up for Burrow to just get it to Hayden Hurst, to Jamar Chase. And I mean, they were – and the Bills were playing zone, and they weren't able to recover. You're playing zone. You're playing a fucking area. It's snowing. You couldn't recover fast enough to chase those receivers down. I mean, they're fucking – T. Higgins is fast, and he's
They're all
huge.
fast.
Like, you can't it was really frustrating if you're a Bills fan to watch your own team at home not do what you're expecting them to do, and the other team do everything that Buffalo was supposed to do.
Doing everything you wanted.
And also if you're a bettor from that perspective too, because I had bet I bet just a touchdown by every quarterback on Sunday. And, there were bets out there for 2+ from Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. So, I mean, it was like I just got screwed immediately by the fact I couldn't. Joe Burrow and Josh Allen to both throw one touchdown in that game was minus 475.
Jeez.
It was just like, that was how sure of a bet basically it was. And it was just like, just screwed you up and down. So, Cowboys get eliminated. They are for the for the 30th year or whatever. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. Not going to be in a Super Bowl. And what's interesting is that they're going to just continue to stick with their core. It seems.
Trust Dak. You got to keep trusting.
Trust Dak. Trust Mike McCarthy.
Mike has got to go.
Trust Zeke.
Dak's got to go.
But I feel bad for
Jerry Jones is going to look at this and blame the coach. Dak never gets any of the blame, even though he has disappointed you every
You got outplayed by Mr.
season.
Irrelevant.
Like, come on,
you
man.
got outplayed
Get him
by
out.
Mr. Irrelevant. It is pretty remarkable. But Jera is stuck with some of his guys to a fault. Jera Jones.
Oh.
Not your Jera.
I'm very
I was
confused.
Yeah, I realized
Going
that.
fantasy route?
But yeah, good riddance.
Why do people break their televisions when sporting events happen?
It's just Cowboy
Because they're
fans.
Cowboy fans.
I mean,
there's a lot of opportunities too.
I saw this guy. Here we go. The woman on the other side.
Every fucking year.
Oh my God.
She doesn't seem to have an idea what's going on. This seems like it's staged.
What the? Oh my God.
This is absolutely staged. He looked at the camera before he started.
My fucking God.
He's getting in his car. Oh no! What are you gonna do next?
She could have moved the TV. Now.
The TV's already broken at this point. Oh no! Runs over it.
Oh my God.
Bye-bye.
Oh shit.
What's the point?
Oh my God.
Is this your way to show that you're a real fan?
Oh,
So
did it
stupid.
again. Here's another one that I thought was kind of funny too. A second clip, same Cowboys game. Was this guy?
Same game, huh?
Same game.
Now this one's real.
It's a tiny ass little TV though. Look at all the people. Look at all the people at this at this party. That is like a.
Why is there a water heater in like their living room?
There's people, and this is a relatively large room.
Look, this has to be like a studio
or
apartment.
a garage. It looks kind of like
Yeah, a fire extinguisher.
yeah, that might be a garage.
You know,
that
water
they're in,
It's a man cave.
that someone is sleeping in or whatever. And this TV is approximately 20 inches.
We'll go 28 max.
Bam!
It's so stupid. It's really
It's such a waste of money.
really
Why are
unfortunate
you
too
doing
what
that?
happened to Tony Pollard.
I know. Gosh.
Oh yeah.
He's like the light of. He's the star.
Tony
so to
Pollard
speak, if you're-
has been the best running back for the Cowboys for the last 5 years. Not Zeke.
I agree. I was going to
He's been
say
the best one.
One of the biggest slaps in the face to Zeke is Tony Pollard got voted into the Pro Bowl game this year.
Yeah,
and
as
he's
a
not
backup.
He's not their starting running back. Zeke was nowhere near the voting.
He's way better than Zeke. Zeke had one good
I
season.
hope he goes somewhere else and gets a bag and does well.
Seriously. I mean, it's worst timing ever for him at this point. He's got a fracture.
He's exactly the type of running back that would start anywhere else but Dallas. You put him with Buffalo, it'll change the whole dynamic of that team.
Yeah.
I know. It is interesting to think that We see what the 49ers have done with Christian McCaffrey. I know that the Bills were apparently in the mix on getting a Christian McCaffrey in that deal, but to not have a running game year after year after year after year, and yet we kind of continue to buy into that. One more item before we get into, well, I guess, why don't we go ahead and make our picks here? I mean, why not, right? We have the Chiefs and Bengals. That's basically a toss-up at this point.
But I think
-1.
you and I, for AFC,
yes.
I think it's decided because we have a future bet that we started at
the
beginning of the season.
You want to double up on it?
What do you want? You want just a separate 20?
Another 20, yeah, just on that game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got the Chiefs and you got the Bengals.
Yep.
On a money line.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have the Bengals winning this game. I think that high ankle sprain is going to be more to deal with than we believe. Especially because it's his drive foot throwing the ball.
It is,
and
yeah.
you could see in the last half of that game, he was not able to pinpoint those 15, 20-plus yard passes. And I think that you're going to need those against the Bengals. So I'm going Bengals, and then go Birds.
Either way, he's going to wake up on Monday, and his elbow is going to be so sore from just zipping that ball the entire game. I tend to agree. I think the quarterback position is, I know I have this bet here, and I'm going to honor the bet, and I'm going to double down on the bet. But to have a healthier Joe Burrow and then to have Joe Mixon, I don't think, Hartman is good, and, he's a speedy guy. But to have that reliability there, and who knows, in this week, Bengals could possibly get another offensive
I think
line
if you're just taking the injury, it's I am betting on Cincinnati to win, but this is a pick 'em.
It is, yeah.
I agree.
It's a lot easier to count out Kansas City if they didn't have a good defense. But their defense is pretty fucking good. They fly all over the field just like Cincy. Their line and Chandler Jones, those guys are fucking monsters.
Yeah.
And you still, it's like you can't count out Kelsey. Pacheco, who's blown up the last second half of
Pacheco's been great too.
season.
I couldn't remember his name off the top of my
No,
head.
I completely agree. I think this is a pick-em game, but that's just because it's so even. I think that's just what's going to give them the edge.
The quarterback factor.
Yeah.
Mahomes is an underdog for the first time in his playoff career.
I was telling Braxton we had a limited time to take the Bengals at plus money because right when the game was over, the Bengals were plus 100 money line.
Sure.
I was like, that's going to change.
And now we've got updates on.
And now Bengals are -1, and now they're the favorites. So if you got them at plus money, that's good.
We all taking the Eagles?
I'm going with the Eagles. I have a future in the Eagles with a few people. I have a future in the Eagles with DraftKings. I like the Niners, but
After what I saw this last week, it was I
love Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I want him to. I want to see him in the Super Bowl.
The Eagles time to be in a contract here.
Yeah. Eagles are an easy team to love.
I would love to see a Kelsey brother Super Bowl. Cool. Would be really fun as well.
That'd be cool. I think also all of the fan bases we have left, maybe not so much with the Niners because I feel like their fan base has died off over the last 10, 15 years. But I feel like the fan bases we have left are all invested heavily. Great fan bases, so I'm excited.
I think out of the four teams that's left, there's not one team that I'm looking at going, I don't want them to be there.
Yeah.
There's not like a Patriots right now. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally agree.
I like Kansas City. I don't have a problem with Kansas City being there. I'd love to see Cincinnati there. Jalen Hurts probably my number one out of who's left. And also, as much as I'm not a Niners fan, seeing Christian McCaffrey make it to the Super Bowl and possibly win from what he's dealt with the last 3 seasons, I think would be super cool.
Yeah, I mean, he had played 10 games in 2 years, and now he has played 12 games, or maybe it was 11 now just this season with the 49ers. He's never lost a game in a game that he started. The first game that he played against the Chiefs, he came in reserve, and they lost that game. But as a starter, Christian McCaffrey, undefeated with the 49ers.
Christian McCaffrey is the only reason I would want to see the Niners win it all.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I also don't want to see the Niners win and have Brock Purdy get all the credit. I don't have a problem with the kid, but you are going to be praised like crazy if the Niners win the Super Bowl, when to me, you could have filled in the blank.
You could have put Mitch Trubisky back there.
You could have put fucking Matt Hasselbeck out of retirement, put him back there, just say, don't fuck up. They would have been fine.
Yeah.
So him getting all the credit when I don't think he's done that much, and I saw flashes of it when they said, Brock, go ahead and we'll put it in your hands. I'm like, you didn't look too good, man.
Adjust that game plan. So, 49ers plus 2.5, so not an absolute 3 underdog, so getting that half point that you would think.
It's gonna. They have a great defense, but to win in Philly,
it's gonna be tough.
Good luck.
They're made different out there.
And then we're gonna do some quick NBA stuff after this before we get out of here, which is Tom Brady not so happy with Jim Gray. He's on his own podcast. Tom Brady is being asked about retirement. Here's what he had to say.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already fucking done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
I love that. I love that from Tom.
You
don't get that kind of Tom Brady very
answer.
often. And like kind of just like
fucking done it.
Show some realism and
also,
be like, you know what, dude, shut the fuck up.
Niners don't win. He could go to the Niners.
I don't know.
They've got a lot of quarterbacks there with Jimmy G and Trey Lance.
I'm irritated about how much we're going to talk about fucking Tom Brady this offseason.
Yeah, we will have to. We will certainly have to. Well,
I hate pre-irritation.
It's the worst,
pre-irritation.
I know it's coming.
As far as pre-things, it's like pre-irritation, pre-cum, as far as worst.
Oh, pre-cum's fine.
Yeah. Well, full irritation was how Shannon Sharpe made the Lakers feel at the game this past weekend. What the hell happened? He was going after Ja Morant's dad. He was talking shit.
He didn't start it.
Either way, I mean, he ended up later apologizing, but
you don't go after Unk and think you're not going to get any backlash.
It was just
why don't you just take a wild guess on who started it?
Who?
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Here, piggy.
Maybe if he was fighting with the Lakers. I'll give you a hint. Oregon Ducks.
Dylan Brooks.
Oh, no.
Who else starts shit?
Oh, no.
The guy who has a dud shit fucking role player. He starts talking shit to him, and then Shannon Sharpe just starts to fight the entire Memphis team. Ja Morant's dad gets involved.
He got Steven Adams up in his face at that time. Like, this is a big New Zealander.
Hey,
like, this guy is terrifying.
You're reading all the comments through this, and people are like, oh, you don't want to fuck with Steven Adams. Well, you don't want to fuck with Steven Adams. That's true. But if there's one person that I think can go toe-to-toe with Steven Adams, it's probably Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah.
It's probably Shannon Sharpe. And the comments about Ja Morant's dad was fucking hilarious. Like, looks like he's fighting knockoff Usher here. A Walmart Great Value Usher. And then they made up, and I was like, whatever.
I know, yeah. Like, even the officials were, like, Zach Zarba, who was, like, a veteran official, was in there trying to separate these guys and everything. It was like, they were very much a part of the action there. And
the only thing I agree with is if that was an average Joe, they would have been kicked out of the stadium. But because it was Shannon Sharpe fighting with the other team, they let him stay. I thought that was wrong. But, you know, Dylan Brooks to continue and say shit like he's an average pedestrian. I'm like, bro, he's done way more than you ever will in your fucking career. Like, so arguably one of the best tight ends to play the game. Like, come on.
The Lakers also in the action as well when they played the Portland Trailblazers the following game. Damian Lillard at the line gets into it with Patrick Beverley.
Tell you, there is some chirping going on, boy. Pat Bev and Damian Lillard
beat your ass, says Dame.
Somebody's going to get, well, we got the technical on Pat Bev because Lillard was ready to shoot the ball. Pat Bev walked into the free throw line area and talked to him.
This is a long-standing feud. They had an online beef back in May.
Longer
Chris
than him
Paul
and Kevin
was
Durant.
in the middle of that beef with Dame.
So this beef has gone back to when Pat Bev was in
Clippers.
No, Houston. This was when Pat Bev was in Houston and Dame was in like his first ever playoff game, and they were going back and forth.
Is that when Dame hit the shot? He was on that team, right?
It was that team.
Okay.
It was that team, but like these guys were going at it. Like Dame has called Pat Bev a pest in the past, and he just gets under your skin. That's just the type of guy that Patrick Beverley is. You know, the Blazers went on a big run. They were up by a lot, and then, you know, they blow a 25-point lead, and then here comes Pat Bev, who's saying, like, hey, what happened to Lillard time here? He's tapping on his wrist, and, hey, work. That didn't work out. And then after the game, Patrick Beverley wanted his flowers when it came to Damian Lillard going ice cold. Here's his exchange with a reporter.
Pat, you've been in the NBA a long time. You don't see a 25-point halftime deficit overcome too often. I just wondered what you felt like the message was from whoever it was in halftime and how you guys were able to execute and chip away until you kind of took over.
I just, I came at halftime and told the guys, just turn our swag up.
It did seem like you had the kind of the constant dialogue with Dame throughout. You end up tonight being the plus 27. Dame has a slow shooting night. What were you looking at that matchup-wise?
He would have cooked me. You would have said I couldn't guard him, but now he missed a couple of shots. It's a slow shooting night, honestly.
Well, I said you were plus 27, right?
I did a good job on Dame. That sound better.
Well, I was gonna ask the question, let you answer it.
I just answered it. Next question.
He did not like that Dame had a slow shooting night versus Patrick Beverley shut down Damian Lillard.
Listen, Pat Bev has one job in the league.
So get under people's skin.
And if he's not on your team, you hate him.
Yes.
If he's on your team, you either like him or you don't mind him because he's on your team.
Tolerate him.
You tolerate him because he's doing it to the other
disruptor.
team. He's not. If you're in the NBA, you're a good basketball player. You're better than the average person. But Pat Bev, his only job is to get in your head. And the thing with Dame is I like Dame. I like Dame a lot. But
Dame takes the bait.
He took the fucking bait, went on social media and compared Pat Bev to Flip from above the rim, Bernie Mac, and which is an insult to Bernie Mac, first of all. Okay, Flip, great character on above the rim. And, like, he shut him down. If you watch this game, first of all, there's no reason that the Blazers, we took the Blazers on a bet, on minus 5.5. There's no reason they should have lost at home after the Rip City creator died.
Yeah.
They were playing on a special night for him.
Had died.
You were up by 25 and you lose to the fucking Lakers? Yeah. The Lakers. Without Anthony Davis and a team that's in shambles, and you fucking lose to them. And then you cry about it because if you watch the entire game, Pat Bev shut down Dame.
Yeah. And it happens, and I think that, like, part of it is just allowing a guy to get into your head and not wanting to be either proven wrong or any of that, and then you start forcing the issue, start doing things that are out of your character. Meanwhile, if you don't let that type of stuff happen, I mean, it's just his shtick. That's what he does. And, again, long-standing feud that goes back a decade with these guys, and Patrick Beverley got the best of them.
We'll have to tune into the Pat Beverley podcast to see his thoughts about it.
Oh, sure.
God, they
a
all
great
have
podcast voice, but he's got.
They all just followed us. Every player
I know.
has a fucking podcast.
Who does?
I did see, boys. We are part of a very, very elite group. From 2020 to 2022, over 40% of podcasts that were started are no longer going.
Wow. Look at
us
us persevering. Who would
We
have thought?
stuck through.
Who would have
We
thought?
stuck through.
Can you say consistency?
Ever heard of it?
Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo.
Sad story. There was one thing, and we can cut this out, but we did have a little instant reaction interview with Tim at the bar after the game. I don't know if that's good content. I was drunk when I took the video, so I don't really know if it's funny.
Maybe
Do you
Peter.
have the video? Send
Yeah.
it along. We'll
Maybe.
see how it goes. We don't have a ton of time, but
While he's finding that, I think this is easier to laugh at if you're not a Blazer fan. But when Dame posted on Twitter that he's like flipped from above the rim, there was someone has the blue check mark, which I know you can get, anyone can get now, but they posted how it started, and it said Dame, one-time Rookie of the Year, 0 championships, 0 finals appearance, 0 scoring titles, 0 assist titles. How it's going. 1 Rookie of the Year, 0 everything, 0 everything. I thought that was funny because that's been my point this whole time. He's known for 3 or 4 clutch
And to
shots,
being-
but
yeah.
really hasn't done anything.
and being loyal to a
Yeah.
fault.
This is my first experience as an on-field reporter. Look how I did my earpiece too. I did my earpiece on the interview.
Now hold on, is Tim a fan?
Tim
He's
is a diehard
huge
Cowboys
fan.
All
He
right.
was bouncing around the bar the whole night, telling us play-by-plays. He was in it.
Was he working?
No.
Okay, here we
So
go.
he was feeling himself.
If this is the whole video, is this right before the interview starts?
Yep. The Cowboys just lost.
All right. You ready? Let me know when. Let me know when I'm on air. Am I on air?
We're live.
We're live. All right. Miguel, guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me? We're here at Jimmy's Bar and Grill. Game just got over. We're here with Tim, a resident bartender at Jimmy's, diehard Cowboys fan. Thoughts on the game, Tim?
Miguel, business as usual. We did it again. We could not convert, and we're getting ready for next season again. But you know what, Braxton? Let's go, Sean Lee. Bill Sean Lee.
Dead broadcaster.
Tim, you talked earlier about laying hats.
Yeah.
Do you think we need more of that next year? Your thoughts on that?
I think we should do a little more laying hats. Give him a little more punishment. I'm old school.
Climb into your
Old
camera.
school football. Just like Miguel.
Laying hat, baby. Back to you guys.
He kept on coming up to us and saying they need to lay some hats out there. They need to lay some hats.
Wow. There you go.
Should we address the standings this week, even though there's no punishment tonight?
Yeah, Braxton
lost.
oh, that's right, by a game.
Pete lost.
No, by a lot.
He sucked.
Really?
You were 5 and 10.
Oh, okay. Well,
You
oops.
suck. You suck.
Oops, boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo.
Sad story.
Boo.
Anything else?
I don't think so, boys.
Clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Bye.
Amen.
Bye.